Welcome to episode No 15 of Sales with Value. In market, don't sell only products, sell your energy.
That is quite the hook to start us off with today.
Right. I mean, it sounds a little abstract right out of the gate, but it perfectly sets up what we're diving into. We're doing a deep dive today into a really fascinating source, a piece called The Salesman's Secret, Selling Enthusiasm Beyond Products.
Yeah, and it really flips the script on how we normally think about sales.
It totally does. So to set the stage for you listening, I want you to just imagine your smartphone battery. Like, imagine it draining by a massive 10% every single time someone just says the word no to you.
Oh man, that is a stressful thought.
Yeah, right? Like, by noon, your screen is totally dim, your apps are crashing, and you are just desperately running on empty. And that's what we are unpacking today. Why rejection in the market isn't actually just a numbers game.
No, it really isn't. It's an energy crisis. I mean,
Right.
we constantly treat professional selling like it's purely this matter of statistics, right? Or just having perfect product knowledge.
Like, if you just read the brochure enough times, you'll be fine.
Exactly. We obsess over, sales funnels and conversion rates and closing techniques, but if you strip all of that away, you are left with the raw, volatile human element of the job.
Yeah, the actual person doing the walking and talking.
Right. It's about the physical and psychological toll of just waking up every day to face a literal wall of rejection and what that actually does to your nervous system.
Let's ground this in a scenario, because I think anyone who has ever tried to persuade someone else, even outside of sales, will feel this in their bones.
Oh, absolutely. We've all been there.
So picture the typical morning. You step out your front door, and your energy is just at absolute peak. You got a fresh shirt on, you have a clear target in your mind, and you just feel this undeniable confidence radiating off of you.
You're untouchable at 8 a.m.
Exactly. The bag on your shoulder feels light, you are genuinely full of hope, and you are ready to conquer the market.
Yeah, because you have that pristine, untouched morning momentum, like the world hasn't tested you yet.
Right. But then you walk into the very first shop, you flash a smile, you start your meticulously practiced pitch, and the shopkeeper just cuts you off with a really blunt, "Not today."
Ouch. Yeah, that stings.
It does, but you brush it off, right? You're like,
Wow.
it's just one door. So you walk into the second shop, and this time, they don't even let you finish your opening sentence. They just kind of wave a hand at you and say, "We still have old stock, don't need anything, thanks."
So now the armor is cracking a little bit.
Just a little. So you tighten your grip on your bag, and you head to the third shop. And this is the worst one. The owner there doesn't even grant you the dignity of eye contact.
Oh, the silent treatment.
Yes. They just stare down at their ledger, completely ignoring your existence until you just awkwardly back out the door.
Yeah, and in the space of maybe 45 minutes, the entire landscape of your day has just radically shifted.
It feels ruined.
It does. And the common, really dangerous assumption here is that these repeated rejections are simply destroying your sales numbers. Like, oh, I got 3 no's, my stats are down.
Right. Just a bad math day.
But the underlying reality that the source points out is much more insidious. The rejection isn't directly killing the sales. The rejection is systematically destroying your enthusiasm.
Wow.
Yeah, and it is that invisible internal loss of enthusiasm that ultimately tanks every single subsequent conversation you're going to have that day.
Because the decline isn't just a bad mood, right? It physically alters you.
It does. Completely.
Like after shop number 3 or 4, if you were to record yourself, you'd literally hear a different voice. It loses its resonance, it loses that depth, it gets a little higher, a little thinner,
Yeah, you sound unsure.
And your walking style goes from this purposeful stride to just this sluggish drag. That morning glow, that tension in your facial muscles that projects readiness, it just vanishes.
It's a total physiological collapse.
You go from actively playing offense to desperately playing defense.
And the mindset shift is so profound because in the morning, you were an active participant in commerce, right? You were actively selling.
Providing value.
Exactly. But by 1:00 p.m., after you accumulate this string of blunt dismissals, your brain has shifted entirely into survival mode. You aren't trying to provide value anymore. You are merely trying to endure the remainder of the clock.
You're just going through the motions.
Right, you're hoping nobody yells at you, and you're just waiting for the day to end.
Which brings me back to that smartphone battery analogy. Because when you wake up, you are at 100%. But every single rejection is like opening a massive processor-heavy app on your phone.
Oh, I like that.
Right? Let's call it the self-doubt app or the frustration app. and you open it, but you don't close it. You just leave it running in the background.
Just draining power.
Exactly. You don't consciously think about it as you walk to the next door, but those open apps are quietly, relentlessly eating away at your battery.
Yeah, they are.
So by early afternoon, your internal battery icon is basically flashing red. You're operating on low power mode, and every single system is compromised.
And when you are in that compromised low power state, the brain plays a really cruel trick on you.
Oh, what does it do?
It looks for a scapegoat. I mean, when everyone is saying no and your energy is totally depleted, the most convenient, logical seeming conclusion is to blame the heavy bag on your shoulder.
Oh, wow. So you blame the product.
You do. You convince yourself the product is fundamentally flawed.
And I mean, that feels undeniable in the moment, doesn't it? Like if 10 people in a row look at what I'm holding and tell me to get lost, the thing I'm holding must be garbage.
Right. It feels like basic logic.
So why is that cognitive leap so destructive? Why is it the wrong conclusion?
Because it is a massive misattribution of reality. It totally ignores the complex hidden world of the human on the other side of the counter.
Right, the shopkeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you hear a no, your tired brain assumes it's a direct referendum on the quality of your catalog. But you have to think about the shopkeeper's unseen environment.
Like what they're dealing with before you even walked in.
Exactly. That person might have started their day by arguing with their spouse. They might be sweating over delayed payments from their biggest clients, just staring at a negative bank balance.
Right.
Or they might have a sick kid at home. Or maybe there's a toxic feud happening between their own employees in the back room right as you walk in.
So you walk through their front door completely blind to the fact that their building is basically metaphorically on fire.
Yes.
And their no has absolutely nothing to do with the features or the price of your product. You just blindly stumbled into their personal stress cloud.
That's a great way to put it. And the fatal error happens the moment you internalize that external stress.
Because you can't see the fire.
Right. You don't see their panicked inner monologue. You only process the rejection. So you create this false narrative in your head. You say, my product isn't working. My company's prices are too high. Nobody wants what I have.
And the second that false belief takes root in your mind, your confidence just goes into a complete free fall.
Totally. And once you actually believe your product is bad, your ability to sell it basically goes to zero. You cannot fake conviction.
You really can't. And it's such a tragic irony. One single shop's incidental no, driven entirely by their own bad morning, inadvertently torpedoes your sales in the next 10 shops.
Yes, and it happens purely because you allowed that false belief to alter your behavior. The market drains your enthusiasm first. The drop in your sales numbers is really just a lagging indicator.
That makes so much sense. Let's look at a concrete example from the text of how this plays out in real time. Because the source gives this account of a salesperson named Ravi, who is honestly the perfect case study for this dynamic.
Yeah, Robbie's story is super relatable.
Right, because Ravi is not lazy. He's described as incredibly hardworking, honest, and dedicated. He knows his product inside and out.
He's not slacking off.
Not at all. But he possesses this fatal professional flaw. He lacks an emotional firewall. Like one single harsh rejection at 9:30 a.m. will completely dictate his emotional state for the next 8 hours.
And honestly, Ravi represents the vast majority of the workforce.
Oh, for sure.
He has built incredible product knowledge, but he has zero emotional armor. He allows his internal state to be entirely governed by external circumstances.
And the contrast in his performance before and after taking a hit is just staggering. It's literally Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Oh, it really is.
In the morning, fresh out of the house, Ravi walks into a shop, plants his feet, looks the owner in the eye and declares, "Sir, this item will work in your shop."
It's strong.
Yeah, it is a command, it is authoritative, it basically assumes the sale.
But then, he hits a pocket of turbulence.
Right.
A few doors get slammed in his face, a few people wave him off disrespectfully, and you have to watch what happens to his physiology and his phrasing.
Kind of falls apart.
It does. By the afternoon, his posture is physically collapsed. His shoulders are slumped. He kind of shuffles into the next shop, avoids direct eye contact, and his pitch degenerates into this plea. He just mumbles, "Give this a try if you want."
Oh, man. If you want. It's almost painful to hear.
It hurts.
He's practically begging them to reject him. He is apologizing for taking up their oxygen.
He really is. He is projecting his own internalized defeat directly onto the buyer. He has already decided they won't buy it, so he just offers them an easy exit.
Yeah. And the climax of Ravi's struggle happens at the end of a really grueling day. He is physically exhausted, he's emotionally drained, and he ends up venting his frustration to his senior manager.
And he uses the classic excuse, right?
Yep, the classic excuse of the defeated salesperson. He says, "Sir, the market is bad today."
He completely externalizes the failure. He's saying the environment is broken, not his approach.
Exactly. But his senior manager doesn't indulge the excuse at all. He just smiles and delivers this diagnosis that strikes right at the heart of the issue. He says, "The market isn't bad. Your enthusiasm has dropped."
Such a powerful moment.
It is. And he follows it with the core operating principle of persuasion, which is, in the market, it's not just your product that sells, your enthusiasm sells too.
That's the golden rule right there.
It is. But I have to pause here. Because if I put myself in Ravi's worn-out shoes for a second, that advice is honestly infuriating.
You think so?
I mean, yeah, I've been walking for 8 hours, my feet are blistered, people have been rude to me all day, and my manager hits me with, "Just be enthusiastic."
Quite, yeah.
It sounds like toxic positivity, like a cheap bumper sticker. You can't just flip a switch and manufacture genuine enthusiasm when your nervous system is screaming that you are under threat. So what is she supposed to do? Does he just muscle through it and fake a smile?
Well, see, muscling through it actually makes it worse.
Really?
Yeah, because humans are highly attuned to inauthentic emotion. A fake, strained smile is deeply unsettling to a buyer. It creeps them out.
Right, it feels off.
Exactly. So the manager's advice isn't just a bumper sticker about thinking happy thoughts. It comes with a rigorous, practical protocol for biological intervention.
Biological.
Yes, you don't manufacture enthusiasm out of thin air. You have to stop the active energy leak. So Ravi is introduced to a strict reset protocol.
Okay, so how does he actually stop the leak? What is the protocol?
He implements a non-negotiable operational rule. Never carry the emotional residue of one shop into the doorway of the next.
Okay, easier said than done.
Right, which is why to enforce this boundary, he starts using a mandatory 30-second pause.
Just 30 seconds.
Just 30 seconds. When he gets a harsh rejection, his natural instinct is to immediately rush to the next door in a panic, trying to desperately make up for the loss. But he overrides that
He
instinct.
forces himself to stop.
Yes. He physically steps out of the flow of traffic. He takes 30 seconds, he takes a slow sip of water, he takes a deep diaphragmatic breath, and he verbally states out loud to himself, "New shop, new start."
Wow. So he is basically forcing a hard reboot on his brain.
He's leveraging basic neuroscience because when you face rejection, your amygdala, which is the threat center of your brain, it flares up.
It's sounding the alarm.
Exactly. It floods your system with cortisol. You enter a mild fight-or-flight state. So by stopping, taking a deep breath, and swallowing water, he is manually engaging his parasympathetic nervous system.
Okay, so it's a physical signal.
Right. He is signaling to his body that he is not actually being chased by a predator. He's safe. The deep breath oxygenates the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain responsible for logic and emotional regulation.
That makes total sense.
And by repeating, "New shop, new start," he is actively closing out those heavy background apps we talked about that were draining his battery.
He stops letting shop number 2 sabotage shop number 3.
Precisely.
And it's incredibly practical, right? Because he isn't demanding perfection of himself. He's not saying he has to feel amazing. He's just demanding a 30-second buffer zone between failure and the next attempt.
And the result of that tiny biological intervention is that his energy stabilizes.
And because his energy stabilizes, his pitch regains its morning authority.
Right.
And, of course, his sales naturally begin to rise again.
Because he transitions from the amateur mindset to the elite mindset. You see, weak performers view rejection as a permanent condition. It's like a heavy weight they are forced to carry for the rest of the day.
Yeah, they let it ruin the whole week.
But elite performers understand that rejection is a highly localized, temporary, and isolated event. It happened in that specific room with that specific person, and it ceased to exist the very moment they walked out the door.
Which brings us to the actual mechanics of how this internal reset translates to external success. Because what is actually happening in the room between the salesperson and the buyer?
That's the fascinating part.
Right, because if your internal battery is dead, your biology betrays you to the customer long before you even realize it. I read that your vocal cords actually tighten when you are stressed, which makes your voice sound breathy and weak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your gaze drops, you physically shrink to take up less space.
And what we are talking about here is the profound impact of mirror neurons.
Mirror neurons.
Yeah, human beings evolved to be incredibly sophisticated at reading micro-expressions and body language. It was a core survival mechanism for us.
Like assessing if someone is a friend or a foe.
Exactly. So long before a shopkeeper actively evaluates the pricing of your product, long before they even glance at your catalog, their mirror neurons are scanning your physical cues to determine your status and your emotional state.
It's basically the ultimate poker tell.
It really is.
Like when a poker player has a garbage hand, but they try to push all their chips in to bluff, their breathing might get shallow, their blink rate increases, or they might unconsciously rub their neck.
And the veteran players at the table absorb that anxiety before a single card is ever revealed.
Right. And the shopkeeper is doing the exact same thing to you. They read the energy tell. If you shuffle in looking defeated and anxious, your body language is literally screaming, even I don't believe in what I'm selling, without you ever uttering a single word.
And the shopkeeper feels that anxiety. Their mirror neurons adopt that anxiety, and their brain translates that uneasy feeling into a reluctance to buy.
They don't even know why they're saying no. They just feel it.
Exactly. And this highlights a really profound dynamic that the source talks about. Confidence is completely invisible, but its effects are universally visible.
I love that.
Yeah.
You can't put confidence in a jar. You can't measure it on a scale. But it literally changes the actual physics of the room you walk into.
It does. And the professionals who completely dominate their industries aren't necessarily carrying a miraculously better product than anyone else.
No.
No, they have just mastered the discipline of emotional amnesia.
Emotional amnesia.
Yeah. They can get screamed at by a client at 10:14 a.m., step into the hallway, execute their 30-second reset, and walk into a totally new client's office at 10:16 a.m., bringing a completely fresh, genuinely warm, smiling energy.
They protect the new client from the baggage of the old client.
Exactly, because confidence and enthusiasm are felt rather than heard, that clean energy is deeply contagious.
Mirror neurons pick it up.
Yes. When you walk in with genuine, relaxed enthusiasm, the shopkeeper's mirror neurons pick up on safety and positivity. It lifts the ambient mood of their entire shop.
It's like you're bringing a gift before you even pitch.
And the fundamental equation of persuasion here is that positive feelings lead to positive orders. If your presence makes the buyer feel good, their resistance plummets. They are infinitely more receptive to whatever you pull out of your bag.
But this requires a massive paradigm shift in how we think about professional development, doesn't it?
Oh, massive.
Because we spend weeks, sometimes months, onboarding people. We force them to memorize product specifications, competitor analysis, 10 different ways to handle a pricing objection.
Role-playing over and over.
Exactly. But we spend 0 hours teaching them emotional recovery.
We train them on the catalog, but we leave them completely defenseless against the psychological realities of the market.
And the market doesn't care about your feelings.
The market is brutally indifferent to your feelings. Rejection is an inescapable mathematical certainty.
You will get no's.
You will be ignored. You will face rudeness. You will have days where absolutely nothing works. And the primary metric of your long-term survival isn't how well you memorize the brochure.
Right. So the question isn't, what did the market do to you today? Because the market is just a force of nature, right? It's going to rain whether you like it or not.
You can't control the weather.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
The only question that actually dictates your success is, how quickly did you put yourself back together?
Because the market tests your energy long before it ever tests your product. It tests your resilience right at the door. If you fail the energy test, the transaction is over.
It never even started.
Right. You never even get the privilege of opening your catalog. Defeat does not begin when the customer says no. Defeat begins in the mind of the salesperson, sitting in the driver's seat of their car, dreading the next interaction before they even turn the doorknob.
And that forces us to completely rewrite the definition of what a strong professional actually looks like.
How so?
Well, we tend to idolize people who seem immune to failure, right? As if they possess some magical aura where they never hear the word no.
Right. The mythical born salesman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But strength isn't the absence of rejection.
No, it's not. A strong professional feels the exact same sting of rejection as the amateur.
It still hurts.
Their stomach drops just the same when a door is slammed. The difference is solely their recovery time. The amateur lets that sting smolder and burn down their entire day. But the professional acknowledges the sting, initiates the reset protocol, and absolutely refuses to let external chaos extinguish their internal fire.
They protect it at all costs.
Because they know their enthusiasm is their most valuable asset.
We've unpacked a massive shift in perspective today. We started with the harsh reality of how a string of morning rejections can just drain your internal battery, basically tricking your brain into blaming the product instead of recognizing the unseen circumstances of the buyer. And we saw through Ravi's journey that the failure rarely lies in the catalog. The failure happens when the presentation loses its authority because the energy behind it has died.
It just fizzles out.
Yeah. And then we broke down the biology of the 30-second reset, how stepping back, breathing, and drinking water physically reboots your nervous system.
Such a crucial tool.
It is. And finally, we explored the undeniable science of mirror neurons, proving that your attitude, your vocal tone, and your physical posture are just as vital to the transaction as the item you are trying to sell. Every single new interaction you have deserves a clean slate and your absolute freshest energy.
Strong salespeople do not avoid rejection. They recover from it quickly. Because in the market, not only your product sells, your enthusiasm sells too.
And I want you to think about your own daily interactions. Even if your job title has nothing to do with sales, you're constantly negotiating energy. Whether you're pitching a risky new initiative to a skeptical boss, trying to rally a friend to join you on a weekend trip, or just walking through your front door after a brutal, draining commute. Are you carrying the toxic residue of your morning into the pitch of your afternoon? Are you unfairly punishing the next person you meet for the sins of the last person you dealt with? Tomorrow, before you walk into your next high-stakes conversation, try the 30-second reset. Stop moving. Take a deep, deliberate breath. Drink some water. Leave the heavy baggage in the hallway. Tell yourself, new start. And watch what happens when you stop merely surviving your day and decide to start selling your enthusiasm.